Hey everybody, and welcome to our broadcast, the Brain Function series from the Togetherness Media, Los Angeles. And I'm Mohammed Nami, medical and cognitive neuroscientist. And I'm so passionate for being part of this series through which we'll be discussing about some quick hints on how the brain functions and how this miraculous, automated, complex, intricate organ in our head puts together reality and functionality and how we interact with the outer world, how we think, how we move, how we feel, and how we speak, how to make a realization of the external world, and we have the inner feelings. So this is absolutely miraculous, and efforts has been in place for several decades under the umbrella term of neuroscience, where scientists and clinicians have been putting the efforts together to kind of unpack and unravel the untraveled roads to understand the brain. And this is what exactly we refer to as neuroscience, and it has some different disciplines and subdisciplines. For instance, when we discuss about neuroscience, a part of this like major would include scientists, and their work would comprise studies that they are looking in a very exact detail on how the synapses and the neural constructs are interacting, and they are forming different activities and interchangeable functions. So they might be neurophysiological expert, they might be neuroanatomists, there might be neurogeneticists, or there might be neurobiologists. But all in all, what they do is called cellular molecular neuroscience. So sometimes when we hear about the neural stem cells, this falls under that umbrella. So the discipline of cellular molecular neuroscience is very fundamental, and that's critically important to develop new ideas and fundamental understanding about the functionality and mechanisms how the brain works. Another subdiscipline is clinical neuroscience. When we have neurologists, psychiatrists, we have psychiatrists, and also neurosurgeons and medical neuroscientists, that they are trying to get the best out of the evidence to diagnose and treat and use the technology to help overcome the burden of the diseases. And they are both trying to capture some underlying understanding about the mechanisms of the diseases, and also to find out new solutions about overcoming the issue. Also, we have computational neuroscientists, how they are making the interaction and the link between the brain and the computer, and something like artificial intelligence, robotics, and stuff like that are just in that category. We have the interface between neuroscience and cognition, something which is referred to as cognitive neuroscience. And the contribution of cognitive neuroscience to humanities and social and sociology would give rise to some other disciplines like social neuroscience and like cultural neuroscience. So apart from all that, what we gotta be understanding is that this like 1.2 kilogram organ, sophisticated system between our ears, is made of like 120 billions of neurons, and each neuron is capable of making connections with over 1,000 other neurons, maybe in some instances like 10,000 other neurons. And these neurons are making connections through some very minuscule, very minute connections at microscopic level, which are called synapses. So the synapse is the link, is the nexus between two neural projections. And where do those neural projections come from? They come from the terminal parts of the shaft of the neuron, which is called axon. So we have the axon, we have the dendrite, and we have the cell body, the very beginning of this pathway. So everything is being communicated through chemical interactions between two different projections. So when the chemical interactions between these two will be happening using the exchange of neural transmitters, then we have the change we have like an alteration in the electricity and the electric potential of the cell membrane, which just generates the electricity current. So we're talking about chemical and electrical events within this very minuscule synapses. So we have synapses, electrochemical functional units. Then we have the population of synapses which work together. We're talking about circuits. Then the accumulation of circuits and the meshwork of different circuits will form the networks, the neural networks. So in many instances, we're facing the interaction and also the synergy of neural networks together. So network A is just getting activated, and this is becoming silent, and vice versa. And these networks will have like a matrix of functionality interchangeably being active and deactivated. And by this, we will have a function generated. And the function might be motor, might be sensory, might be cognitive or behavioral or emotional constructs that we show. So these main 5 pillars, cognition, emotion, behavior, motor, and sensory aptitude, is literally made by this this harmony and the army of the functionality and all the different events which happen at very minuscule molecular level to the system level at the functional modules of the brain. So these things are really working in a perfect way that we even do not understand or remember that we have something called brain in our head, because it's really working really impeccably, and there is nothing wrong with it. But when we are facing some little issue, even like a blockade of a very small vessel, or when we have deoxygenation of a specific parts of the brain, or we have trauma or injury and contusion of some areas of the brain, then we start to feel disorders in any of those functionalities that we just allotted to. And by that, we're discussing about the brain dysfunction that we all know. In clinical neuroscience, we're referring to that. We're trying to overcome the brain dysfunctions and help the people come back to better functional status. But if this is not a case, and we're discussing about the role of neuroscience in improving our health, a part of our health relates to how the people interact with each other, and that forms the society, right? So the knowledge and technology and the emerging and converging science and technology, when they are going to be effectively for the benefit of the society, then they would be really valuable. So we're talking about converging knowledge and technologies for the benefit of the society. In the next episode, I'll be discussing some impact of neuroscience at societal level, and how neuroscience at different levels of impact have influenced education, marketing, art, media, economy, and politics, and law, and defense systems like advertisement, leadership, and coaching, architecture, and sport, and the list goes on and on. So we'll be discussing about some further insights, how brain science can sort of revolutionize our well-being and our social well-being, and the enrichment of our societal life is kind of dependent to how our brain functions and how our brain interacts with the other brains. All right, so this is what we will be touching on as we will catch up next time. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.